Ladies and gentlemen, my greetings to you all. I'll try to be short so that you will not get bored with what I'm going to tell you. I am a medical practitioner, over 69 years, practicing for past 38 years as general practitioner. I was in good health, except for a bleeding duodenal ulcer in my early 20s. And at that time, most often, the treatment was blood transfusions, antacids, and antispasmodics. But those blood were not being screened at that time. Nobody knew what they contained. Anyway, I was heavy, with no other symptoms, not even a single symptom whatsoever. I continued my studies, graduated in medicine, and back home to serve my country people. I practiced in private clinics and had my own surgery. On the eve of Christmas 1999, I fell unconscious in my surgery. On regaining consciousness, I was vomiting blood, profuse blood. My nearby neighbors, having heard abnormal sounds and noises, came to inquire and saw me in a pool of blood. They contacted a relative of mine who happens to be a doctor, and I was rushed to hospital. Fortunately for me, it was Christmas. The treating doctor stayed overnight, just with ice cold fluids putting in the stomach to stop the bleeding, which indeed he succeeded the next day. A week later, I underwent a fibrogastroscopy and was diagnosed as esophageal varices. Blood test was done, and I was positive to hepatitis. At that time, there were only non-A and non-B. I flew to UK and was diagnosed as positive to hepatitis C with liver cirrhosis. It was already advanced. Samples were taken for genotyping and for viral load. Just imagine, at those times, they were not being done monthly or weekly. They waited for samples, a sufficient number, and then they did the test. It took me nearly 4 months. I had to come back to the country and fly back again to UK to have the results. I had a high viremia, that is a high viral load, and the genotype was 1A. Just think what you'd feel when you have all those things told to you just like this. After the viral load and genotype, they advised me a transjugular biopsy. Because of high risk of bleeding, I had cytopenia. The transjugular biopsy showed advanced cirrhosis with a few nodules. Nothing could be done. I was advised to take interferon. I came back to the country. I was started on a daily injection of interferon 1A until I heard of peg interferon, which was not available in my country, of course. Somehow I managed to get peg interferon once weekly injection together with ribavirin. As you all know, you have massive side effects. You are more sick than without it. But I had to fight the virus. In the course of the treatment, I had severe anemia, cytopenia. I had to have fresh platelets transfused very often, almost a week, twice a week during the course, which lasted 1 year. Viral load slowly decreased and finally was left undetected. It was very okay for me to have that test. I had no virus. But it was too late. No virus, but I was still sick. The esophageal varices were there. I could not feed myself. I had frequent hematemesis, that is bleeding. Could not swallow anything else except liquid food. After that, I had to fly to a nearby island to have those esophageal varices tied, that is ballooning. The balloonings were done monthly, and then later it became fortnightly. And then very often I had to stay there for almost of the time until my treating doctor told me that there are no longer places to tie to do the ballooning, and so I have to think about a liver transplant. But the liver transplant should be a total liver transplant, not a partial one. I contacted almost all the countries. I was told I had to stay in that country for at least 1 year, and maybe within 1 year, a donor compatible could just pop up and then have the transplant. There was a very long list in almost all the countries. Certain countries didn't accept foreigners because they themselves could not treat their own people. One day, I was in my surgery over the phone, and a patient in the waiting room overheard what I was talking. When his turn came up, he offered his help. He was a foreigner. He had come for his usual dose of hepatitis B vaccine, his third one. I was among those first doctors who were doing hepatitis vaccine at that time, because we had most Asian people who had invested in the textile factory came to us and have their dose of hepatitis B vaccine. And then he started phoning. I had nothing to do than wait. Within half an hour, he managed to get in touch with a clinic which accepted me as patient for a future transplant. After 2 weeks, I flew to that country, to China. It was a research center specialized in transplantation, renal, liver, and other organs. Prior to surgery, there was a normal routine, and one day the nursing officer just came and said, okay, you know your liver is ready. Get ready yourself too. You are going to the surgery. Just before the door of the surgery, the consent form was given to me. I was accompanied by a relative. That relative refused to sign it because it was stipulated that it is a very high-risk surgery. You may get in alive and get out dead. I was suffering so much. I had nothing to lose, and I signed it myself. The surgery, I was told, lasted for about 12 hours. I did not regain consciousness. I fell in a multi-organ failure. After 2 weeks, I happened to open my eyes. I was like a robot with tubings everywhere and wires on the chest, tubings on the nose, ear, limbs, hands, and so on. I recovered slowly but steadily. Bed sores appeared. They started to be present. And after 3 months, I was back home. And 1 month later, I was on my feet again. I had several episodes of organ rejection. The liver rejected. High doses of hydrocortisone, together with the immunosuppressants, were administered so often that I contracted diabetes, together with their complications, of course. Later, I had a bleeding in my right eye, cataract in the left eye, left with a very poor vision. I started having renal problems, chronic renal failure, which I'm trying to manage. I had my eyes treated. Now I can see. I can even read properly with the glasses. But on the whole, what I got is I spent more than 300,000 US dollars. At that time, it was a fortune. All my savings went there. I also lost my gallbladder because I could not feed myself and it was atrophied, even though I have spent so much money. I had to travel to China almost every 3 months, 6 months, because there were no transplant physicians available in the country. I mean post-transplant physician for liver. We had for renal problems, but for liver problems we had no post-transplant physician. And so I had to travel almost twice a year. And finally, I became my own treating doctor, which is not advised to anybody. I was compelled to do so. I could not just travel there and come back and spend money, and the medications were already known to me. I managed to treat myself and keep myself alive, as I am today. I founded the NGO Help Support, and with a dedicated team, we started awareness and screening in the country. Many people were tested positive to Hep B and Hep C, and the treatment at that time was only PEG interferon and ribavirin. Some started the treatment, continued till they were treated, while others had to discontinue because of those severe side effects. And now I have to thank the Gilead people for having put Mauritius in the list where we have the Gilead Access Program. In Mauritius, we can have a 3-month course treatment of Harmony at $1,000, a bit even less. Generics have made their appearances. They are cheaper. We have also other drugs from other countries. They are not stored in the country. We have to import it on a patient-to-patient basis. I have to say that almost all the drugs available in Europe are available in my country. We can treat them. Unfortunately, genotyping tests and viral load tests are not available, are not being done in the country. We have to send them either to France or to South Africa, wait for about 10 days, 15 days, get the results, and then initiate the treatment. And it costs a lot to the people. We have tried to talk with those people. We have had quite a good price, but it is still expensive. Why they don't do it, I have no reason. I can't say why people are not doing this. I am glad to say that up to now, we have treated more than 1,500 people with the cure rate of 100%, including among the patients 4 people undergoing hemodialysis 3 times a week. These are very promising details. We operate a 24/7 hotline, and for those people who cannot afford the treatment, we help them financially and partially. We can't just give the treatment free because we don't have the means and resources. The authorities in Mauritius have not yet come with a plan, and last year, after the GASCO summit, the government of Mauritius this year has embarked on a pilot project treating 100 people. I hope that this pilot project will continue and more people would get themselves cured. My appeal now to the authorities is, please abide by the recommendations of the World Health Organization. Listen to what they propose. Look for help from them. Accept the help of the NGOs so that together we can eliminate hepatitis within the time frame, that is 2030. Eliminate hepatitis, please. Thank you.